Investigators are searching for the gunman responsible for the shooting death of a beloved community leader in South Los Angeles. As NBC4's Hetty Chang now reports, his family and friends are heartbroken. He was taken by the very violence he fought so hard against.
Family and friends tell us this Westmont community will never be the same without Craig Batiste. The 54-year-old former gang member turned neighborhood peacemaker gunned down Wednesday morning near West 111th and South Hobart, not far from where he grew up.
He was holding this area together. He is a peacekeeper. He's the interventionist that would be out here if this was someone else and would make sure these young guys don't go anywhere and hurt anybody.
Skip Townsend is a friend and fellow gang interventionist. He says everyone knew Batiste by his nickname Big, not for his size, but for what the 54-year-old did for this community.
Little in stature, but big and hard. Also was soft as a teddy bear.
Batiste maintained many of the schools in his neighborhood and was part of LA's Safe Passage program, walking children to and from school, steering them away from trouble. Tonight, LA City Attorney Mike Fuhr saying in part, gun violence knows no boundaries. We will remember Craig as a community leader and honor his memory by working to end the scourge of gang and gun violence.
I've been with him when the principals from the school called him and told him, hey, Big, that's going on with a certain child. He like, let me handle it.
Wednesday morning, just before 9, LA Sheriff investigators say a passenger in a dark-colored sedan opened fire on Batiste as he tried to run away. They do not yet have a motive.
And my belief, whoever did this couldn't have known who he was, because I don't believe anyone who knows that he was the fabric of this community, that he was the one holding it together, would ever hurt a peacemaker.
In Westmont, Hetty Chang, NBC4 News.
Okay, you already know what it is. Your boy Zod. Anyways, man, let me just go ahead and remove this from the screen right now because we don't really need the display capture. Now, there's a few things I want to talk about, and it's things that I tend to talk about a lot because, you know, a lot of people like to downplay the fact of what's going on in Los Angeles right now and the fact that it's a hotbed of violence, and not only in Los Angeles, but it bleeds to the more rural areas of Los Angeles, which would be, even though the valley's like not that far from the city of LA, it's still considered far from a lot of people that are more deep centered Los Angeles and some of the surrounding areas like Compton and Paramount and a lot other. But basically, man, look, I'm not gonna get on here and I'm not gonna talk down on shit, but it's just, I just wanted to point that out. You know, I've told a lot of people in the past, like, regardless of age, it really doesn't matter. Sometimes it's mistaken identity. I'm not saying that this particular incident that took place was a mistaken identity, but if you go back and look at this guy, like the works that he's did, because I've watched other videos with him actually standing in people's hood, bringing one side to the next, and I'm talking about hardcore rivals, people that's all they do is live to kill each other. You know what I mean? I've seen him bridge gaps and have at least these few, and you can see the tension within his presence, but people respect that in the simple fact that they saw what he was trying to achieve. And I think a lot of people that really know anything about Big knew that he was one of those that was really true to what he believed in, and that was, trying to keep people from, going back to prison, trying to keep people from going to prison, and trying to keep people from actually destroying their lives by killing each other for a block that they don't own. Like I said, I'm not going to get on here and preach about, gangs. It's one of those situations that was kind of like, it's messed up. But I say all that to say this: age don't mean shit on these streets. And I've been telling people that since day one. And who's to know why he got killed? Who's to know why people ran up on him? I'm not here to do the cop's job. I'm just here to point out the fact that this is the type of shit that happens in the city of Los Angeles, and not just LA. You got other parts like IE and other more obscure parts that do the same exact thing. They may not get the notoriety, but if you really like I said, go and look at what this dude was accomplishing, what how he chose to turn his life around and no longer, follow that one path that a lot of us follow. Like, a lot of us will follow our hood to the grave, and it's something that's been embedded in us. But there's always a few smart individuals that know when you get to a certain point, if you're still living, it's no longer worth it. I'm basically halfway there when I should be already there, but I'm halfway there, and that's due to the fact that I still got cats on the street that would probably do the same exact thing that they did to this guy. And for different reasons. Like, like I said, he was on a whole different page. I don't know exactly why he got killed. I don't know who was callous enough to do it. And just, it's like, nowadays, people just don't respect it. Like, don't get me wrong. The 90s was bad. The 80s was bad. You know what I mean? It's like, that's when people are really starting to really, the 80s was like, more like, people are still fighting, but they were also laying you out. You know what I mean? It's not like the 70s, but I'm talking about the 80s. 87, 88, 89, 85, 84, when it was really going up. And then 90s when the violence just skyrocketed because people were more brazen. They didn't respect life as much as the other older individuals that would, that would give you a chance sometime. They get out there and box you on the street. It was like, okay, I know this is off topic, but it was just one of those things like, you could actually get heads up. You know what I mean? It's like, and it was like, okay, well, this fool is too big for you. You got your big homie come down and squab that fool all day. But, the 2000, they don't see nothing wrong with blowing a fool down, and a lot of it is due to the fact that these cats do not want to fight. Now, I'm not saying that that goes with this situation, because whoever did it was brazen enough to, like they said, chase the dude down and give it to him. And that's one of the things that I tell people all the time when they're like, yeah, Zai, you need to slow up. And I tell them, like, hey, it don't matter what age you are. At some point in some time, you did something to somebody's family member, somebody's homeboy, somebody that was dear to somebody else, and they don't necessarily forget that. And then you got to also remember that you got these cats on the street that's all they do is chase clout every day. So they looking for individuals like this, and not necessarily to even, prove a point, but just to make a dent, because they know they're on demon time. So they know somewhere somebody's gonna miss this guy, and just to be brutally honest, not even brutally honest, just to be honest, a lot of people are gonna miss this guy, not only for his message, but the shit that he was achieving and shit that he continuously try to achieve. Now, I see, there's a lot of celebration of rappers and and what they do, but this is the type of dude, like I said, I don't know why he died. I'm not going into that, but just cats need to sit back and celebrate this dude for what he achieved and what he was trying to accomplish. And it's just one of those things. Like I said, man, I'm not a blood, I'm not a Crip. Everybody already know what I represent, but it's just one of those things, like, you got to give, like they say, you give your flowers while they're still alive. I never thought this dude, like, cats had changed their life around, and they moved more towards a, positive, a more positive outlook, and try to, like, manifest that, like, in the physical, as far as, like, really putting their lot in with cats that they feel may be redeemable, or those that might not even necessarily be redeemable, looking at them like they're like they're a human being. You know what I mean? And not so much pointing fingers or, stuck on the old page. Well, you know what? He's from that hood and we're enemies. Even though, because you got cats that do that. Like, they'll act like it's all good, but they cannot converse with their enemies. Like, they'll be like, oh, I'm older, I don't do this no more, I'm not with that. But put them in a spot with their enemy, they will treat this dude like trash. And but this one over here, you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's just one of those things. Dude was a real cat. He did real things, and he was actually, there's a lot of videos on YouTube where you can see actually what the predicaments he would put himself in order to broker peace, or even try to broker peace, even with hoods that, you know, the peace would not last, but he still tried his best to broker it. And I think, you know, this is the type of cat that you got to give your flowers to, regardless of whether he was there or he's passed. But I ain't gonna go into it. I just wanted to speak on it real quick, you know what I mean? And for the people that may not have been paying attention, I just knew him as Big, but I know his name was something Batiste, but I might be slaying his last name, but Batiste. But anyway, man, go check this dude out. You know what I mean? Go check out and really just look at what he was trying to accomplish and the things that he was able to accomplish within his lifespan. Because a lot of us, you know, we get to a certain age, we're so set in our ways that we can't see nothing outside of, you know, hate towards our enemies. Some people stop it because it's no longer their life. Some people fear it. They got to the point that they were never really involved in the first place. So, you know, it's like, oh, I made it out, you know, boop, and it's good. Some people are the type that they get to a certain age and they smart up and was like, you know what, this is not worth it, and I no longer want no part of it. But instead of just walking away from their neighborhood and walking away from everything that surrounds them, they choose to still be in the streets, but not on a negative page, but really out there trying to help the community and try to keep individuals out of trouble. And that's all I'm gonna say on that, man. You know what I mean? Go check out Big, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's a tragedy. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not here to do Cobb's job, and I'm not here to I'm not here to persecute nobody for what they did, because the streets are the streets, and unfortunately, they're always gonna be like that. And that's another thing. A lot of people they always talk about broker and peace, but never really go out there and try to broker peace. And for anybody that comes on here and is like, oh, well, why are you talking about Izzat? That's a black thing. But, you know, you got all these channels that speak on the Mexican mafia. They speak on Hispanic gang, man. They speak on all types of shit, but they're not from Hispanic gang. They're from a black gang. If you put it on social media, it's going to get talked about regardless. And nobody really cares on whose feelings is getting hurt. It's just, that's the way it is now. I'm on here, you know, giving my respect to somebody that earned it. You know what I mean? You got a lot of channels out here that talk about gangs and stuff like that, but they're not here to broker no peace. They just want to know information. There's a few of them, you know who I'm talking about, but, you know, we had our conversations. One of I seen you in Compton, and your energy was, I seen you and you see me, but all that tough talk was nothing when you see me in person. But that's besides the point, man. Rest in peace to dude, and hopefully, man, you know, that people find a better way. And on that note, man, I'm going to end it. You know what I mean? Other than that, you start going into that you shouldn't talk about. So I'm just go ahead and end it there, man. Rest in peace to dude. And I'm out.